This video is going to be a look at the Giants pin pull slash trap running game under head coach Brian Daboll. Look, I'm no expert on his offense. This film study video is born out of a Saquon Barkley film study that I'm still in the process of completing. And while gathering plays that the NFL.com YouTube site hasn't used, so I don't get like a copyright hit or anything like that. Trying to be real careful about the plays that I gather. In doing so, I found some really cool blocking schemes and patterns that I wanted to share and pass along with anyone interested, Giants fans specifically, but anyone who watches the channel. I guess, three key elements before we start the plays running. Look, Daboll loves to attack to the boundary with the run game. And if you're unfamiliar with what I mean by that, the ball is on the left hash here. The boundary side or the short side of the field is the offense's left, defense's right, the bottom side, with everything to the right of the offense being to the field. He loves to attack to the boundary, particularly when there's a 1 and a 5 to the boundary side, to the bottom side. Now in this case, you've got a 3 and a 9 because the Giants have a tight end nobody into the boundary, and the Colts are matching it with a 9 technique D end and a corner slash DB lined up head up over the tight end in the box, quote unquote, as a 7th defender. Second element I want to mention is that the Giants attack defensive tackles physically and mentally, meaning they trap them. They trap them with a pulling guard or a wham trap with a tight end. They cut them sometimes on the backside with a tight end or H-back. They down block them often on their down or belly schemes, whatever you want to call it. It reminds me of like a very good pitcher in Major League Baseball who has 3 high-level pitches or maybe even 2 different delivery styles. That pitcher's going to give D tackles, or batters, I should say, all kinds of looks, all kinds of pitches at different speeds. It's the same thing with Brian Daboll and the Giants running game. They're going to give D tackles all kinds of reads to create some hesitation, to create some mental change-ups for them to try to handle before they even become aggressive. Third element or precept to it is that he loves the pin pull versus a 1 and a 5, or maybe even a 2I and a 5, to the weak side. And all of the guys on their offensive line can get the job done. We're going to let this play start. And then the fourth thing I want to mention, I'm going to show you 6 plays here. 4 of them attack to the boundary or to the one receiver side, meaning to the side where there's only one receiver lined up, generally a split end. So here's some of the run concepts. This is only from 3 games in 2022. This first one's a run up the middle with a screen built into it. So there's a screen built in with the number 3 receiver going out here. It's gonna pull this inside linebacker out of the box. Simultaneous to that, this safety, nickel safety for the Colts, is gonna run down here, and they just got the Colts defense all kinds of messed up. One thing the Giants are good at is scooping a 3 technique on the backside with the tackle, so the guard can go right up to linebacker level. So what I mean is, here's the 3 technique on the backside right here. So they're excellent at scooping him with the tackle. In this case, it's the left tackle, so that the guard to that side on the backside can go immediately up to linebacker level and seal someone off. Not have to combo at all. They're really good, they being the Giants, at cutting off or scooping that backside 3 technique. In some cases, a backside 4I, whatever you want to call it. O-line's just very well trained. Another thing to mention, and this is on the front side here of this run play, this is where you have the 1 and the 5. This is your 5 technique D end and your 1 technique, pretty much the weak side of an over front. And you're going to get the D end, the 5 technique, slamming B gap. The Giants are so well trained. Their offensive line is so well trained. They handle it quickly. It all leads to Saquon Barkley being untouched until at least 9 yards down the field, I think on a 12 or a 13-yard run. A little bit more intricate or interesting blocking scheme here. Trap play into the boundary against Washington. It's to a 3-man surface. So when we say 3-man surface, what we mean is to the top side of the formation here, you're going to have guard, left tackle, tight end. So a 3-man surface. They're going to be trapping with the right guard on this D tackle. There's going to be a little bit of penetration here, a little bit of the nose tackle getting upfield. Center's got to try to handle it. The right guard, the pulling right guard, gets just enough of a piece of the D tackle, the trap man, to allow Saquon Barkley to squirt through. Now, what does it mean in terms of having a three-man surface over here? It means that they can deal with this defensive end and not also leave him unblocked. Some schools have thought anything outside the trap man you leave unblocked. The NFL is a different level. Even high-level college football is a different level. So what they're doing is they're dealing with him with the tight end. So the tight end's going to handle him. What it allows the Giants O-line to do is the left tackle work directly up to linebacker level. The left guard inside release work directly up to linebacker level. I'll replay it a couple of times as the play gets started. And you can see how quickly those guys get up to the linebacker level, the second level. That trap block isn't a huge kick-out block, don't get me wrong, but just enough of a piece of it for Saquon Barkley to scoot through. And you can see left tackle, left guard, clean releases directly up to the second level, sealing those guys off. Great concept. Again, some penetration by the nose tackle, but the center's able to not get put on the train tracks, and then the right guard scoots through to get a piece of that D tackle. Another 12 or maybe a 13-yard gain for Saquon Barkley. Old school trap play, one of my favorite plays to see. Kind of a litmus test for some offenses that I used to see in high school about how much respect I gave their blocking schemes. All right, can't be fun to be a defensive tackle and have to worry about stuff like this. Not only on the previous play did you see a D tackle get trapped by a guard, this is an intricate or a little bit more intricate version of a trap play. Usually wham trap, we would call it wham if a tight end is outside and he's trapping down onto a D tackle. So trying to basically take that D tackle and force him this way. It's the opposite this time. He's lined up, he being the H-back, is lined up on the backside, and he is essentially the trap blocker. He's the kick-out block on that D tackle who's left unblocked by the right tackle and right guard. He's untouched. I guess technically there's a little bit of an influence here with the right guard. You can see the right guard step to him and then immediately veered back out. What this is kind of like a fold blocking scheme where the right guard is stepping to that D tackle and then immediately jutting back out to get the D end. What does it allow the right tackle to do? Release directly up to the second level, just like we talked about on the previous play. I'm going to run this back 2 or 3 times so you can see just the trap element of it. I think it's Daniel Bellinger, who was a rookie last year with the trap. And then the right guard stepping to the D tackle, kind of influence trapping him. Right tackle getting directly up to the second level. Only a great play by this safety, I think number 20 by Washington, kept this from being a longer gain. I think it ends up being an 8 or a 9-yard gain. I love the fold element to this, the influence element. So you're getting, again, I'll draw it up. Right tackle works directly up to second level. Right guard influences that D tackle and then steps out and tries to kick out the defensive end. And then simultaneous to that, you have Bellinger in motion, shuffle motion, going to kick out this D tackle here. All leads to Saquon Barkley getting downhill on people. Again, they're attacking to where the 5 and the 1 are, to the weak side. It seems to be something that Daboll does extremely well with trap or pin pull schemes. There's other people who do it at an efficient rate as well. This is just some of the film that I saw in doing a Saquon Barkley film study that I thought people might find interesting. All right, another pin pull, and this one's run at the 5 and the 1 to the boundary, to the bottom side of the formation against the Texans. This time the right tackle doesn't clearly scoop the backside 3. If you remember the play that I just showed you, I think you had a influence trap. This is slightly different. You're getting a pin with the left guard and then a pull with the center. And he's going to try to work up to the second level. Simultaneous to that, they're basically locking it with the backside left tackle, trying to expand this D end or at least keep him, in this direction away from the play, the intended, direction of the play, the intended gap, which in this case is the B gap. Saquon Barkley breaks one tackle, gets loose on a pretty significant gain, maybe 14, 15, 16 yards. Right tackle doesn't scoop this backside three here perfectly, meaning he doesn't cut him off. He just stays on him long enough. But the point is, watch what it allows this right guard to do, to work directly up to, I think, number 58, and basically wall him off, gets him back to about 12 yards depth before the ball carrier's even nearby that linebacker. Getting up to the linebacker level, getting up to the second level immediately makes it damn near impossible for a linebacker to be effective at all. And you can see he's got a lineman released directly up to him. Giants are experts at this. No matter who is out there, seemingly, at least the 3 games that I studied, they've got guys getting up to the second level on these pin pull, what I would just call inside zone with a pin pull concept to a 1 and a 5. All right, the 5th play I want to show you is a similar concept with a nasty wrinkle against the Colts. Again, it's to the boundary, and this time it doesn't look like a 5 and a 1 in terms of the nose tackle. It looks like a 2-eye and a 5. So 2-eye here, inside shade. He might be head up. He might be in a 2. Head up on that left guard, maybe inside shade, and then here's your 5 technique, which is outside shade of the left tackle. But watch what the Giants and Brian Daboll do with this backside tight end or H-back. He is going to cut the D tackle. What that does is it allows the right guard to immediately work up to second level because that backside D tackle can't play any role in it. Pretty good job by, I think it's Bellinger again. I could be wrong. Actually, it's not Bellinger. My apologies. 86, I think. No, it is Bellinger. My bad. Cutting that D tackle down, get up to the second level. A third element to this, I guess, that I should mention is the awareness level of the receiver to the boundary, to the top side. As they motion Bellinger back into the backfield, you can see this safety coming up. The receiver is going to go directly to him, essentially crack him, and it leaves this corner unblocked, very commonly used blocking scheme to leave the corner unblocked, force him to tackle someone like Saquon Barkley. Look at the viciousness of the cut. 64 working directly up to linebacker level, and you can see what is essentially turns into a crack block by the number 1 wide receiver, the solo, the X, on the boundary side safety. Cool scheme, if you ask me. The Giants O-linemen work downfield. 64, 76 here. They get out in front. Barkley's free again on like an 18, 19-yard gain. You can see why he had such a successful season. That D tackle getting cut, very unfortunate to be him on this play. He's forced to basically sprawl, try to get his hands out, try to get his hips and his knee out of the way, obviously, so he doesn't get hurt. Nasty concept by Brian Daboll and the Giants. Great execution by Bellinger and the entire offensive line, which really was the norm for the plays that I watched in the Saquon Barkley film study. Okay, last one. Similar concept here, but without the cutting of the backside D tackle. There's no H-back or tight end with leverage to try to cut him, to try to knock him down. So what they have to do is they have to try to scoop him, meaning the Giants have to try to scoop him with this right tackle. What does that do? Same thing as on the other plays I pointed out. Allows the right guard to work directly up to the second level. You're also going to get a pinch by this boundary side D end, Hughes. There's some kind of call, some kind of aware. Look, I had the Giants using this concept, I think, 4 times against the Texans. So the Texans were familiar with it. That's probably why they had that pinch call in, whatever the terminology is for them to pinch. But look how well the left tackle handles it. You get a pinch by the D end, left tackle swats him through, and then immediately works up to the second level. You again have this attempted a pin pull technique by the left guard, pinning down on the D tackle, and the center is supposed to loop around. Kind of gets disrupted by Hughes. I think it's Jerry Hughes, pinching down. Great job getting to the second level. Only like a 6 or 7 yard gain. Certainly not as consequential as some of the other plays I've shown you. Second year in this system, I think this offensive line will be better, smoother. Things will be handled even better than you've seen on some of the plays I've shown you. Handling a pinching D end. the pin pull stuff to a 1 and a 5, you have to think that opposing defensive coordinators, coaching staffs are going to be ready for it. They're going to understand, hey, this guy will attack to the boundary, to the 1 and the 5 all game long if you let him, if you don't shut it down. Having said that, like, the Saquon Barkley factor is huge. I don't think the Giants can afford to let that guy not play every game. If he sits out, who has leverage, who loses leverage, all that talk, I don't know. I just know that Saquon Barkley is a huge part of what they did in 2022. Of course, I think he's tied for the team lead in receptions with 56, 57, 58, something like that. Low level in terms of yards per catch. I want to say it was around 6.5, maybe 6.7 yards per catch. Low level compared to, wide receivers, obviously. But ran for over 1,300 yards. I think fourth in the league in rushing. 56, 57, 58 catches. Spectacular season. I'm not sure that this offense can be as effective if Saquon Barkley's not on the field, despite, how efficient, coldly efficient, and brutal some of these run blocking schemes are. I'm a big fan of what they've done there in New York in their first year, particularly offensively. As a Ravens fan, it was tough to go up there and lose a game in Week 6 that Ravens fans certainly felt like, we should have walked out of there with a win. But give the Giants credit. They're tough. They're extremely well-trained. They block very well for each other. I think I've shown you that in the 6 plays that I illustrated here. And the offensive line across the board is well-trained. Prepared for the stunts that they see, prepared for pinching D tackles or defensive ends. I love what they do. You guys let me know if you've sat through the video this long, Giants fan or whatever. Let me know what you think of the film study breakdown, what you think of some of the trap schemes, the pin pull schemes that I showed you that Brian Daboll used to great effect in 2022 to help resurrect this Giants franchise and the offense specifically. If you think other NFL fans, other Giants fans maybe would appreciate and enjoy this film study video, please consider grabbing a link to this video and sharing it on social media to help this video get more reach.